You're listening to DraftKings Network.
Behind those cozy nights at home, thousands of employees at BP go to work every day. People producing more U.S. natural gas. People building grid-scale solar capacity. People turning landfill waste gas into pipeline-quality renewable natural gas. And people delivering all of that power where it's needed. They're part of the more than 300,000 jobs BP supports across the country. Learn more at bp.com/investing in America.
This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz podcast.
The only thing worse than staring at Adnan in the Zoom with the red carpeting and the red wall is knowing that if I had been kept waiting as long as we just kept Adnan waiting, I would have hung up. And Adnan, to me, looks desperate.
He looks angry, and he has every reason to be angry. I've never seen Adnan angry, though. That's the problem. So I don't know what it looks like, but I felt like I just saw it. I mean...
You're in a Dallas hotel room, aren't you, Adnan?
How do you know that?
Listen, one thing David Sampson knows, with all the travel he's done, he knows his winter meetings. I'm actually at the Hilton in downtown Dallas. David's absolutely right. I wish Sampson was here, Stu. I'd be kissing his keister like everyone does. It's a big schmooze fest. Every single person you see, quick hug, handshake, how you been, how's the family? You try to pump them for information, you go on your way. It's amazing. I'm terrible at it. I know David would be great at it, and Stu, you'd be amazing at it too. I'm atrocious. I'm in a room right now with a red backdrop, and as David pointed out, waiting 11 minutes to come on here and talk to you guys.
You don't have to get the entire segment in 30 seconds. Let's take a breath. But
well, hold on a second, David. Adnan, were you indeed mad at us because we had you in the Zoom waiting room for about 25 minutes?
It's gone from 12 to 25, Stu. Stu, I'd never be mad at you. Fellow July 29th birthdays. But mildly annoyed, perturbed, maybe a little concerned. Like I was like, I'm not hearing anything. Is everything okay? Is it still on? Roy, talk to me. Lewis, throw me a lifeline. Never mad.
It's totally my fault because what I was trying to orchestrate, and given the time of day, I thought we had a shot. I was trying to get breaking news out of the winter meetings that Adnan could break for us live and watch his hair become the mess that it is because he's got to be on the air. He's got to be doing 10 different things. He's got to draw the curtains. I was hoping for all of that to happen. And finally, Stu said to me, we're starting the goddamn segment. I'm like, but I got nothing. I got no breaking news. I guess we're talking movies.
And I told you I don't care. I have a friend who's been sitting in the waiting room for 27 minutes. His hair's on fire.
I believe Billy is there today. Can I at least mention I'm at the gym today. Nobody cares who I am. Nobody knows me, obviously. The one dude that comes up to me, little squat rack, Carson Vitale, the new Marlins bench coach. And I was like, hey, what's going on? Fellow Canadian, grew up watching you on the Score. I'm from Victoria, British Columbia. I said, listen, make sure you endear yourself to the Dan Le Batard Show. Those are great guys. Billy's a huge Marlins fan. And then we interviewed Clayton McCullough on set. And I'm not kidding, Stu. When they said, Clayton McCullough will join you now, I said, is he a writer for The Athletic? Go, no, he's the new Marlins manager. I'm like, excellent. Great to meet you, Clayton. Good luck along the way. I love these guys. Carson Vitale, Billy. Good man.
Did you tell Clayton to be our friend, too?
Yeah. I did at the end because Sean Casey was with me, and I said, "Hey, Clayton, just those Dan Le Batard show, they're good guys." He was like, "Okay." He didn't. Carson was more receptive. I don't know if Clayton really knew who you guys were.
I think it's critical if we're gonna.
We don't know who he is.
We have to get his name right.
You ask him if he was a writer. That's not gonna go well.
We can't call him Casey earlier.
No, we can't call him Casey. We can't say, "Oh, you're the Dodgers guy, right?" We got to stop that if we're trying to have him be a friend of the show. I'm begging you guys now. Carson Vitale, is that the name you're talking about? That's who's recognizing you in the weight room? Wow, we need to really up our guest game here.
No, David, this is, if we do become friends with him, this could be our in for the heist. We need someone working on the
inside man.
Yeah, inside job.
It's not a heist if we get let in the door. We can't buy tickets to a game and then steal the stuff. I thought we have to break into Marlins Park.
Well, we can break in after hours with the help of someone who works on the inside.
Yeah, Carson can give us the blueprints or something. Well, you probably have the
I
blueprints.
have the blueprints.
He does.
That's why we're a team.
It's like the Lufthansa heist in a Goodfellas. He's the guy. He can get us in there.
But if you remember Ocean's 11, they thought that they had all the details, but they changed the floors last week.
That's right. Yep.
That was critical, but Jessica will pay way more attention. So what's the number one thing going on right now in the winter meetings? What are you waiting for after last night's unbelievable signing that the Yankees did? I'm talking about Max Fried, not Jake Berger being traded by the Marlins. What are you waiting? What are you on retainer here waiting for? Corbin Burns?
Big one right now. Yeah, I was about to say Corbin Burns. And it feels there's a lot of buzz, David. He's going to go to the San Francisco Giants. NorCal guy, Buster Posey, wants to make an impact on the San Francisco team that, as you know, has had trouble luring free agents. They signed Willie Adames to $182 million. I like Adames a lot. He had an 8 WAR last year. A lot of that is defense, but he also hit 32 home runs and drove in 112 as well. So they got Adames locked up. They've had trouble filling that shortstop spot ever since Brandon Crawford moved on, and I think Burns is the answer. Again, it's a pitcher's park. He's been very durable the last few seasons. He's a Cy Young Award winner. He's shown he can pitch in a competitive market in the American League East. I think Burns the Giants hopefully happens today.
Buster Posey's not spending his money. So stop with that narrative. He may love spending money. He's spending Robert Johnson's money.
Correct.
It's unbelievable that he's enjoying this. He's a player. You know, Buster Posey is now Stu. I don't know. This went past Stu totally. Buster Posey.
I don't care.
David, he seems like I thought Buster Posey was like a special assistant. What are you talking about?
Listen, I don't want to offend either of you, but we're like smack in the middle of football season. I'm talking about Buster Posey. I don't talk about Buster Posey in July. I mean,
you'll talk about Joe Mauer, but not talk about Buster Posey.
Well, Joe Mauer doesn't deserve to be a first ballot Hall of Famer. That's different.
It's Hall of Fame time.
By the way, love the book, Stu. Excellent writing by Dan Stan. That chapter in particular was excellent. Just completely discrediting Joe Mauer, pissing off the people of Minnesota. Well done.
I'm not saying Mauer's not a Hall of Famer, but he's not a first ballot Hall of Famer. I don't care what anyone tells me.
And Adnan, I assure you, there was no thought of where the book is marketable when he was writing the different chapters of the players and what he was talking about. He didn't do any market research like, oh, Christ, I'm going to upset Minnesotans with this take.
Got it up front, David.
Exactly. He doesn't need to sell one book in Minnesota.
That's not true.
Oh, wait, is it not a guarantee where you just got an advance?
No, I got an advance, yes.
So it's not a guarantee.
Technically, I don't have to sell books, but
do you have to give the advance back?
It would be no, and I won't have to give the advance.
Then that's a guarantee.
I've already eclipsed it. So
you have. Yeah. Don't be modest.
I'm not. I told you.
David's points to right. If you didn't hit a certain number, then you may have had to give back some of the advance. But if you eclipse it, you're crushing it. Yes.
Yes, we're crushing it.
So then screw Minnesota.
I mean, I would like the fine people of Minnesota to purchase the book, of course. I mean, I want as many books sold as possible.
Then show some love.
I'm not going to show some love. I am showing some love. I'm teaching them what's the difference between a first ballot Hall of Famer and a Hall of Famer. He's Hall of Very Good. He is not a first ballot Hall of Famer. He wasn't even the best player on his own team. I don't want to hear about it.
That's book worthy.
Stu, was there any chapter, like when you looked at it now, you've had people reading it, was there any chapter that you said to Dan Stan's, okay, maybe we went a little far? Like the Ohtani chapter, is that the one that's got most reaction?
That's the one that haunts us.
I wrote the opposite side of that. Adnan, I know you saw.
Unanimous MVP, Dave. The only 3-time unanimous MVP. Overrated.
That's page 204,
It was a bad time for the release of the book as it relates to that chapter. The Nadal one, too, because I love Nadal and you know I love tennis, but the French Open is a totally different surface and it does not feel like a major to me. So
no, I love that take. That was one of the strongest takes of the book. I'm not even kidding right now. You basically said this guy dominated one surface and he was, he was able to win a major of the others, but like it's ridiculous. 14 French Opens over 22 overall. That's insane. Yeah. It's not Wimbledon. It's not the U.S. Open. That was a great chapter. I loved it.
Right, well,
that is reckless journalism. First of all, it's a major. Second of all, 14 of 22. In 4 majors, if 22 divided by 4 would be 5 each plus 1 at 7, it's not that far off.
No, but David, very unique players can win the French Open and they won't win another major. Like Gustavo Kuerten won it 3 times, didn't do anything in any other major.
But Nadal
because of the
won every
surface.
other major.
He did, but he won an overwhelming amount at Roland Garros. Yes.
He padded his total, David, with one tournament, which is a little ridiculous. The red clay, the funkiness of it. It is not regarded in tennis circles like the hallowed ground of Wimbledon, where Federer is one of the most Wimbledons of all time, period.
Do Colorado Rockies players pad their stats in Colorado?
Yes.
So therefore, Hall of Fame consideration changes for them?
I don't agree with it, but that's what happens to guys like Todd Helton. Yes, 100%.
I'm going to say, Adnan and Stu, that I disagree. I'm getting no love here. Billy and everyone.
Well, we're talking tennis.
No, they're a pro-Federer crowd. Are you kidding, Jess? Jeremy's definitely pro-Federer. Yeah,
I've been waiting to talk about Wicked for like 3 weeks, and it feels like this is finally the moment.
Yeah.
The Golden Globe nominations came out.
Nice.
Jeremy is...
I've been feeling loathing, unadulterated loathing, for the fact that we have not talked about Wicked yet, because it's an incredibly popular movie that's been defying expectations. A lot of people leaving going, what is this feeling? Adnan, what was your feeling about Wicked?
Enough of Wicked.
I haven't got around to it, Jeremy. I have the screener in
kidding?
my box. There's a lot of other movies I'd rather be watching than Wicked. I watched The Brutalist, which I love, which is a great movie coming out in a week and a half, starring Adrian Brody. I love Day of the Fight, which is a film which was ignored by the Golden Globes. I know Mike Ryan likes Nosferatu. I will see Wicked at some point, but I'm not thinking it's Wicked awesome. Not a high priority.
It might be your motion picture of the year.
It's an
How have you
incredible
not seen
movie.
it?
All he does is talk about all the screeners he gets. You guys blow past that. I don't have access to the buttons here. I'll tell you right now, it's an absolute horse crap that you talk about these screeners. You're Adnan. You can't even get recognized in the weight room by anyone but the bench coach of the Marlins, and you get the screeners for the Academy Awards.
I also get the screenplay sent to me. I get promotional gifts. I get mugs sent to me. David, I get a lot of collectibles. Don't be jealous. Don't be hating right now. I got a Wicked sweatshirt. Jess, I'll show you. It's called Shiz, S-H-I-Z, a big old sweatshirt at home. You'll love it.
You don't
Wicked.
deserve to have that sweatshirt if you haven't seen the movie. This is ridiculous. I've been trying to talk about this for weeks. This isn't even a punishment. This is just because I wanted to get Wicked on the show.
I haven't seen it either.
Neither have I.
Neither have I.
I hate you people.
David, we have some pictures here, and we want to ask you if indeed this is the vault. So let's put the pictures up on the screen here.
Where did you? That's funny. What they're showing is for the audio audience. They're showing you every room in a stadium gets numbered. And so 20501. So 2 is the second level of the stadium, and 05 and 2 is where the office.
Don't tell people where the heist is going to take
Right,
place.
exactly.
Yeah.
With a good czar.
Don't give away your information here.
Or Adnan's mugs all in there too. All the
There's so
memorabilia
much
he's
stuff
got.
in there. But seriously, I'm very loving that you got a Wow, wait a minute.
Look at the Marlin.
It's a big vault.
Look at the Marlin. Let's go.
Wait a minute. I'm actually being serious. Is this a picture from Google? This is a picture of
hacked
where.
Your phone.
This is actually a picture of where we keep at Marlins Park stuff that is part of the history of the Marlins. And it is a locked room. No one gets access to it. There is amazingly valuable things in there. And there is a rule that it's not supposed to be photographed. And I'm actually asking this. Was this found on the Google?
Yeah.
So you just did a search for Marlins vaults?
I didn't do anything.
Sources.
I can't confirm or deny.
Can't reveal them. Yeah.
That's a violation of
You're upset?
several
Look at you.
documents that people have signed putting a picture on that, just FYI.
You'll handle that.
You have not heard the last of this, Billy.
I have nothing to do with this.
You just put it on the screen
I didn't
for millions of people.
I'm looking at the
Adnan
box
now
office
knows.
numbers right here. Moana 2, killing it.
Well, if you want to go to the game and try to find this vaults, you can download the Game Time app and get tickets.
Well done, Roy.
Create an account. Use code DAN, that's D-A-N, for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Download Game Time today. What time is it?
Game time. Adnan, we didn't even get to the movies. Could you go find breaking news and get back to us?
David and I have had a best forward movie title list since September 25th. We're still waiting to get it's a great list. One closing thought, Stu, this is the best compliment I can give you. Your book made the required reading column in the New York Post.
What?
I don't know if you
I wanted the Times, but I'll take the Post. I mean,
you did not. I'll be honest. You did not make the New York Times bestsellers list, but required reading the New York Post. That courtesy of John Heyman and Joel Sherman. Congrats.
I love it. A New York Post bestseller. I mean, how about that?
Required reading from John Heyman and Joel Sherman.
I love Heyman. Heyman's great.
By the way,
Heyman didn't say it. It's his newspaper. That's all I'm saying.
Thank you, Adnan.
Thanks, guys.
So good.
The holiday home stretch is here, and when you're crossing names off your holiday list, you can't forget about your pets. Dopey and Izzy would never forgive me if I did. And Chewy is the only name I need to know for everything to keep my pet happy and healthy. That's why Chewy's perfect. You just go home, relax, kick your feet up, and shop online for your pet. And with the holiday shopping season winding down, Chewy is giving us a gift. Huge savings up to 40 or even 60% off. Flash deals, BOGOs, and so much more. Not just for dogs and cats, birds, fish, reptiles, and more. Chewy's auto ship feature is the real stress-reducing hero. I've set up recurring shipments for all the essentials we use, and they show up to my door just 1 to 2 days later. I'm never running out and can change or cancel my auto ship order at any time. The other day I was going to feed my doggies, Dopey and Izzy, as I mentioned earlier, you know them. And I said, you know what, I'm running low. let me check something. Boom! Right there. I had an auto-ship notification in my email saying the dog food was coming tomorrow. Phew! It's not just dog food. You can get treats like greenies that keep my dog's smiles pearly white. Don't forget gifts for your pets this holiday season. Take advantage of amazing deals and shop my personal favorites at chewy.com/Dan. That's chewy.com/Dan. chewy.com/Dan.
Stugotz here. Nothing delivers comfort and joy quite like the unrivaled quality and taste of Omaha Steaks. It's guaranteed perfection in every single bite, and right now, you could save on unforgettable gifts with 50% off site-wide at omahasteaks.com. Plus, scored extra $30 off with promo code Dan. I love Omaha Steaks. First off, I love them for myself. Secondly, it's a great gift. Oh, I love those fillets. They're fantastic. With 5 generations of experience, they consistently deliver the world's best steak experience, and the gifting experts at Omaha Steaks have made it easy to deliver the perfect gift with thoughtfully curated gift packages featuring gourmet favorites. From legendary steaks to mouth-watering desserts and more, save 50% off site-wide for limited time at omahasteaks.com. Plus, our listeners get an extra $30 off with promo code Dan. That's 50% off at omahasteaks.com and an extra $30 off with promo code Dan. Minimum purchase may apply. Stugotz here. Nothing delivers comfort and joy quite like the unrivaled quality and taste of Omaha Steaks. It's guaranteed perfection in every single bite, and right now, you could save on unforgettable gifts with 50% off site-wide at omahasteaks.com. Plus, scored extra $30 off with promo code Dan. I love Omaha Steaks. First off, I love them for myself. Secondly, it's a great gift. Oh, I love those fillets. They're fantastic. With 5 generations of experience, they consistently deliver the world's best steak experience, and the gifting experts at Omaha Steaks have made it easy to deliver the perfect gift with thoughtfully curated gift packages featuring gourmet favorites. From legendary steaks to mouth-watering desserts and more, save 50% off site-wide for limited time at omahasteaks.com. Plus, our listeners get an extra $30 off with promo code Dan. That's 50% off at omahasteaks.com and an extra $30 off with promo code Dan. Minimum purchase may apply.
Don Batard.
I don't think I ever got that many roses in my whole life.
Stugotz.
Certainly not from your lovely grandfather, God may his soul rest in peace.
This is the Don Batard Show with the Stugotz.
I'll tell you right now that Stu spent the entire break making up a font for his bestseller because he's a New York Post bestseller, Dan.
Yes.
And I must tell you that as a New York Times reader and a bestseller aficionado, I am sweating with nervousness that you are actually going to do it, because you will.
I'm going to do it.
One information from Adnan, and all of a sudden you're a best-selling author in the New York Times font.
Yes.
New York Post.
Yes, New York Post bestsellers list that I'm going to put out in the New York Times font. What's wrong with that?
Congratulations, Stugotz.
Everyone knows the Post is the list you want to be on.
He is doing very well with the sales of his book, but we cannot keep Keith Yandle waiting any longer, because I can make the argument, all right, that Keith Yandle is among the toughest human beings that have ever roamed the earth, because he just kept playing in hockey games. Second most all time, 989 consecutive hockey games.
It's a lot of hockey games.
It's just insane. It's not right. It's not sane. His pain threshold is higher than anybody you know, anyone you've ever met, anyone who has walked the earth, except whoever's first on this list of consecutive games played all time in hockey, because hockey players are crazy. So he's a 3-time All-Star. He's a 14-year NHL veteran, and he's an analyst for Amazon Prime and a guest on TNT's NHL coverage. So thank you, Keith, for being with us. And before we talk about hockey right now, can you explain to us the mentality and the suffering and the sacrifice involved in taking pride in playing 989 consecutive games, second most all time?
Yeah, well, for me, it was kind of, first off, thanks for having me. It's an honor to be on the show. But for me, it was, I'm from a blue-collar town. My dad's a truck driver. Both my parents worked for FedEx. And I never once saw them miss a day of work. My dad worked the overnight shifts, then came home, worked another job, then coached hockey. My mom was doing the same thing, working 2 jobs. So for me, I grew up with that that sense of accountability to show up for work, to show up for the people that are paying you. And for me, I was playing hockey. I wasn't doing anything too crazy. I was having fun. And a lot of it is job security too, because, you know, sometimes if you miss a game, another young guy comes in and takes your spot. And next thing you know that you're in the minors or your career is over. So for me, it was probably a lot more job security and just wanting to be out there and having fun with the boys.
All right, no, but articulate that that last part. Articulate that for a second. If I don't show up for work one day, my career's in jeopardy. The stress and mentality of that.
Yeah, even though hockey, you know, the contracts are guaranteed, you know, with their great union, having that's a nice bonus, but it's just that sense of, you know, there's so many good players in the world nowadays. There's guys coming up that are young, that are hungry, that are willing and able to take your job. So for me, it was just I never wanted somebody to have that opportunity to take my job. I took pride in being a really good power play guy. I loved being out there on the power play. That was kind of what I was out there for, is to help the team win on the power play. So for me, it was never giving away those minutes on the power play, trying to help my team win games, and essentially not missing too many games.
Explain to me what's happening here. I'm going to put on the screen here Tom Wilson, and his face is all busted up because he had 2 goals, and of course just a puck hit him in the face, because that's how it happens. So let's put up for Keith the video of Tom and his swollen face.
Start by asking you about your face. You take a puck to the face, go to the room. What goes into that decision to tough it out and come back in the game?
Yeah, it's my first time seeing it on the screen. It doesn't look so hot here, but you know what? I think, you know, my dad always told me if you're good to play, you play. So went to the room, got checked out, and felt good enough to get back out there. And you know, it's a team sport, and just boys rallied and got it done.
If you're not watching, that sniffling there evidently was caused by the softball that man had in his left cheek. His face doesn't work right, and Keith is smiling as he looks at his swollen face.
It's also cold in there.
And it's also cold, which, by the way, reduces inflammation. The cold is good for the swelling that he has. What is happening there? Like, what's wrong with you people?
Yeah, he might have broken a sinus or something there too. The way he was sniffling, but I had a similar situation. I got hit in the face, broke my upper jaw. I lost like 9 teeth or something like that, and I came to the rink the next day. And Bobby Orr, you know, arguably the greatest defenseman to ever play, just happened to be in the locker room, and he looked at me, and I couldn't talk because my mouth was wired. He looked at me and shook his head. He was like, "If you can skate, you can play." And I was like, all right, well, now I'm definitely playing tonight. So there was no doubt when Bobby Orr is kind of not calling you out, but just, you know what those older guys went through to put the league where it is now. So you can't let anyone down.
You were so close to 1,000 consecutive games. What happened? What's the injury that got you?
There wasn't an injury. I was healthy scratched.
What?
It was my play. I was playing like absolute crap. So I deserved it. You know, it was one of those seasons.
What happened if you could skate? You could play.
I was going to play and sign. Well, yeah, no one told the coach that. So, yeah, for me, it was just, you know, I took it like a man. I deserved it. You know, if I was playing well, I'm sure they would have played me. So that's something that and I'm sure it could have happened many times during my career, but a lot of the coaches kind of respected what I was doing, what I was trying to get to. And, yeah, it just had to come to an end at some point.
All right, enough of the career retrospective. Jesus. You love the Rangers. You love the Panthers. How do you feel about the fact that the Rangers have to blow it up because of what the Panthers did to them?
Yeah, it's tough. I think everyone, you look at all these teams around the league, you look what Boston did over the summer, just getting bigger on the back end for, you know, trying to set themselves up to, you know, probably be playing Florida, because you look what Florida's done the last 2 years of just beating teams down in the playoffs. They're not the biggest team in the league, but they play hard. They finish checks. You know, they're bringing 4 lines at you every single game. There's 0 time to make a play when you're playing against them. So I think with the Rangers as well, even though Jacob Trouba is a big, strong, tough defenseman, I think that they just needed to go in a different direction. I'm interested to see what Chris Drury has up his sleeve, a smart guy who's done amazing things in this league. And I think they're going to have a big splash because at the end of the day, everyone knows that, the Cup, especially in the East too, the Cup runs through South Florida.
Oh, you love hearing that. Roy, you were too busy talking to me and you didn't even hear what he said. The man who is the face and voice, the swollen face of broken jaw hockey, says the Cup runs through Sunrise.
You're goddamn right it does.
You didn't even hear him. You can't get in here
sentence.
this late. It's a ridiculous sentence. It's an asinine sentence the man just said.
Has been for the past 6 years.
It's asinine. It's ridiculous.
Here.
It's an asinine thing to say and
Canada
think
is
and
so
believe.
upset.
That's right, Canada. It comes through the cruise ship port of Roy's happiness.
It's the
Right
greatest
here.
image I've ever seen.
Right here. It makes Roy ice skate with delight on a cruise ship to a land that he does not know because he doesn't pay any attention to the cruises he goes on. We go out to Jessica now. She's in the other room. We get some body repair around here, Keith, and everyone's complaining about how much it hurts. And I keep telling them that there's healing. There's healing in the hurt, that on the other side of pain, your body will feel better. Jessica, what do you have for Keith Yandle?
Oh, I'm Keith. I'm so tough. I'm a hockey player. Well, Keith, have you ever been mashed before? Have you ever had Genesis's toe in your ass, Keith?
Yeah. Actually, in Florida, there's one of the trainers' name is Timmy. We call him Mr. Miyagi. He's he's got metal thumbs, this guy. And he would stick his thumb in your armpit or, where you had it in, close to your rear end. So,
What about his toes? Where does he put his toes?
I would have rathered his toes. This guy had hands like a Greek god, so it was. But I have had that before too. I've never seen the walker. Somebody being held up by the walker too. So that's a
She's in my
that's a new
hamstring,
one.
Keith. She's inside my hammy.
The hammies feed the wolf.
Hell yeah.
He's right. Yeah.
I like that. I'm stealing that.
Are you getting paid to do this, or are you?
Do you have any hockey questions for Keith, Jessica, or are you just going to have questions about mashing?
I have a question. You're from Boston, right, Keith? What are your
Yes.
thoughts on Bill Belichick potentially being the head coach of the North Carolina Tar Heels?
Excellent. Yes.
Well, yeah. You see my Patriots helmet right here.
Yeah.
I actually can't see anything right now.
She just guessed.
Lucky.
At the end of the day, it seems like a play that he's trying to help out his son, right? That's what everything that I've heard, that his son Steven's going to take over the job. And as a father of two, I am all for setting up the next generation of your family, and good for him. Obviously the man still wants to coach. I figured he'd still be in the NFL if he wanted to, but hey, why not go down to Chapel Hill?
Would his recruiting pitch work on you if he walked into the room that you were in with your kids and was like, hey, come play for me. Here's all my Super Bowl rings.
I couldn't even get into college, so that's why. Luckily, in hockey, we have major junior. You can go play. You can go play up in Canada and bypass going to school. So for me, I would have taken his phone call.
That's the spot right there, Genesis.
Yeah, kind of like how some Ivy League schools used to call me, and my dad would just hang up on him and be like, "You got the wrong number."
Really?
Yeah, funny story. Brown called me, and my dad said the only Brown that kid will be seeing is in his underwear. So,
Oh, wow.
Wow. Wait a minute. So what? So, wait a minute. So explain to me how these phone calls would go and how a young Keith would absorb these phone calls nearby.
Well, I knew what my GPA was. I knew I was not getting into an Ivy League school, and my dad's a straight shooter. Didn't want to lead anyone in the wrong direction, and kind of just saving everybody a little bit of time. So I applaud him for doing it.
Keith, I want to get back to the New York Rangers and how they handled the Jacob Trouba trade, and they really wanted to get rid of this guy. Have you ever seen an organization just want to dump somebody like that?
Yeah, I think it happens, more than people realize. There's times, in everyone's career where a team's, looking to go in the next direction. And even though he's the captain of the team, he's been a great player for them. I know Jacob. He's a great guy. He's great around the community. Ton of charity work. Just an all-around good American boy. So I'm sure it was a hard decision, but at the end of the day, it's a business, and especially in New York when it's a win now mentality. And even though they haven't won it in a while, it's every year their main goal is to win the Stanley Cup. So I think for the way they handled it, maybe the news getting out in the media might have hurt a little bit, but I was told that was leaked from not the Rangers side. So this all happens during the course of anyone's career. If Jacob Trouba was making $5 or $6 million, we wouldn't be talking about. He'd still be a New York Ranger, but
it's pretty messy though with the trading of a captain though, right? No, like the honor of all that stuff in hockey is supposed to mean more than it does in all the other sports. Like it's an unusual story to have a captain traded. Hockey likes to march around in the bravado of we're led by our toughest man.
Yeah, I agree with that. But I think Trouba said it as well. It's kind of a badge of honor as the captain of the Rangers to get traded, because it happened to two great Americans before him with Ryan Callahan and Ryan McDonough. So he's just kind of, I think, following in those footsteps maybe of just signing a nice big contract and then getting traded and going elsewhere. But like those other guys like Ryan Callahan and Ryan McDonough, those guys won Stanley Cups after leaving New York. So. I hope nothing but the best for Jacob.
Look, I know I'm the last person that should be talking about toughness because I'm currently dressed as the witch from Wicked, but we're complimenting all of these hockey guys for their toughness because of swollen faces and stuff, and I believe the video team has an image of me after I got my wisdom teeth out, and it looks exactly the same way as any of these hockey players, and I wasn't complaining, guys, when my face looked like this, so I don't think we need to worry about it. They
You just look like a fat kid. You just look like a fat kid.
Wow!
You just look like a fat young man. You don't look injured there. You look like you're about to blow a bubble. Do I have this wrong?
That's swelling in my face.
I thought that was McLovin.
It does look like McLovin. It does look like McLovin. Those glasses were rough, man.
I thought it was Ben Platt.
Very young.
Man, another one.
Can you guys walk me through, please? Because I don't want to get carried away with this, Keith, but the Panthers are again the best. The Panthers are having already done it.
Stanley Cup goes through Sunrise.
I know they're the defending champions, but they're playing in a way this season that would suggest that there's been no regression. I would expect just hockey to happen and there to be a regression, because doing that for this many months of excellence is really hard. I would think that there would be some regression there.
Yeah, going to the finals back-to-back years is no joke, but. I still live down here. I still see those guys quite a bit, and they're just a hungry group. I just really think that they're not satisfied with winning one Stanley Cup. I think they know they have something special. I think when you play in this league, it doesn't happen to everybody. You don't get that opportunity all the time, and I think that these guys really are taking full advantage of what they have. They got one of the best goalies in the league. Sasha Barkov's probably, in my mind, he's the number one, over like all around player in the league. Matthew Tkachuk, a guy that can, lead from in the locker room and lead on the ice. Just a great acquisition by them. Aaron Ekblad, a kid that's been here forever. And then, it's just kind of one of those things. I think the biggest thing we'll see is this year they have a ton of guys that are playing in the Four Nations tournament, representing Finland, Sweden, U.S., and Canada. So I think after that tournament, maybe a week or two after that, we'll see how they're feeling fatigue wise. But I think that'll be a big test for them, is getting through that tournament, keeping guys healthy and going on another run, because, at the end of the day, they're built for another big run.
Keith, we've established you're a tough guy. I think I'm known to some as a tough guy of this office. But one of the places that I get criticized, and I feel like we have this in common, I was told you're a big Bravo boy. You like the Vanderpumps. You like the Housewives. You like the Below Deck. What's your poison? What's your go-to? Walk me through a week of Bravo consumption.
Look at how happy he was that you asked him about this.
I love that. Now we're talking.
You said the Cup comes through South Florida. So did Bravo Fest a couple weeks ago. I don't know if you made time for that. Yeah.
Yeah, I was out of town, unfortunately.
Shame.
But my favorite all-time reality or Bravo show, right now it's probably Below Deck.
Which one? Sailing Yacht, Down Under, Classic, Med?
I'm not a big sailing yacht. Yeah.
Captain Glenn's a bit too soft, and Gary's a bit problematic, if we're going to be honest there. And Daisy, I don't get it. Every season, everyone's fighting over Daisy. I don't understand. Who's your captain?
I don't
Captain
see
Chase? Who are we talking? Jace there? We're talking Captain Sandy?
I like Sandy.
Sandy.
I like Sandy. I like Sandy. She's old school. I used to see her quite a bit down in Fort Lauderdale.
Just got married. Did you go to the wedding? Any chance you made it to that?
No, I got invited, but I was out of town.
Really? You got invited?
No.
You're out of town a lot. I mean, yeah.
I was kidding.
He's joking. Obviously, he's not of the pedigree. What's the matter with you idiots? They would never invite. It's like me falling for him getting into Brown. Come on.
He's no Kate Chastain. Get it, Keith?
No. Yeah, I like Kate. Kate's good. All the shows are great. It's just something you can put it on, shut your brain off, and probably feel better about yourself at the end of the day.
Keith, thank you for being on with us. We appreciate the time. I do want to know the story before you get out of here. The Panthers bought out the last 2 years of your contract. That ending, what are the parts of that people need to know that they don't know because you wish to give us information no one else has?
Not much. It was just kind of, Bill Zito came in, had a new, kind of vision of where the team was going. Kind of talked with them and thought it was the best decision. That's the good thing when you get older. You have, you have no movement clause in your contract, so your only thing that they can do really is buy you out. So. No hard feelings what happened. Obviously what they've done is work. They've been a wagon since I've left. So it's one of those things where you wish nothing but that, because I play with a lot of the guys down here and, a lot of great people in that room. So, still a fan of the team, still love being around here and rooting them on.
This is David Sampson, a former executive of a team, and I've had to have those conversations.
We really did need an introduction.
I've never met him.
I know, but we could tell.
I've never met him.
He could tell from your voice that you're the face and voice of corporate greed. Go
Keith,
ahead.
This is David. David, this is Keith. Go ahead, Stu.
He was also on Survivor, Keith, if you watch Survivor.
I love Watch What Happens Live as well. Mm-hmm. Happy to talk about that with you. Mm-hmm. But I really just want to know, when they come to you for a buyout and then you see them go on this unbelievable run, I love that you're telling us that you're all good and it's all good. But I had players who would say that, but they didn't really mean it because they wanted to be a part of it. They felt badly about it. And then when the team goes on to be successful, they're,
You're accusing him of being a liar.
Well, no, not a liar. I'm saying
the good thing is I wouldn't have been there anyways. My contract would have been up for the last 2 years, so I would have missed out on those 2 years anyways. My body was done playing anyways. Long time, 16 years is a long time. So
amazing career.
I don't think I would have re-signed for 2 more years there. So that probably helps a little bit, where knowing that maybe if they had won it the year I was supposed to be there, then it would have been a little bit of more, tough pill to swallow. But like I said, like the trainers there, the players that are still here that I played with, I love those guys. A lot of guys in the management, the scouts. So I'm being 100% honest.
No, that's great. Being the Ironman,
very.
It's hard.
Yeah, it's a difficult thing.
Keith, I understand that we have a lot in common, okay? You're a hockey player. You're a tough guy. I'm a tough guy. I played lacrosse. You're in the media. I'm in the media. You love golf. I love golf. I understand that you play at Grove 23, which is Jordan's private course. I also play at Grove 23. I'm thinking me and you play around there. What do you think, huh?
100%. Whenever you want.
Yeah.
I'm around. I got enough.
Thank you. Good talking to you, Keith.
You're not going to be out of town.
Appreciate your time. It is gross what Stugotz does there.
Playing golf.
Uses the show to golf with sports Ironman. Thank you, Keith. Appreciate the time. A couple of stories that I wanted to get to. A couple of them from football. One. Condolences and heartfelt sorrow on behalf of Randy Moss because of having both the reported liver cancer and being outed on health stuff, because he didn't exactly get to choose the way that news was disclosed. He was hoping that would be something that he could do privately. I thought he was going to be able to have his privacy respected as he left ESPN for a while with that. But evidently a teammate tweeted it out, and the same thing that Kirk Schilling did to Tim Wakefield's family is what happened here.
It's really, so when Randy Moss took a leave, leave. You remember how it was presented to the public. It was presented that he's taken a leave for personal health concerns. And then there was a tweet about liver cancer, and it forced Randy, in my opinion, to make this statement the same way the Wakefield family had to make a statement after what Curt Schilling did. It's not a pleasant situation.
I do not believe that privacy these days is something that can actually be kept. It's very hard if you're a famous person. But the other football story that I wanted to get to, and it's really hard to hear that, right? I will always associate the name with Randy Moss with youth and vitality. It's sort of the first place that I go. So that never gets old. That is never mortal. When I associate that name, I don't associate it with mortality. Quite the opposite.
If we're going to be just saying things, Ryan Sandberg also has cancer again. So I want to just say it's not just football, it's baseball, it's Hall of Famers, it's the world getting in the way of our fantasy.
But you associate that name, Randy Moss's name, with all due respect to Ryan Sandberg, to just superior athleticism, doing things that we have never seen on a football field. And to see an athlete, anyone, be brought to their knees, someone that you've seen only at their greatest, only at the height of their powers, to see a man brought to his knees like he is today is hard to see.
I don't want to eulogize him. I don't want it to make it that dire, but I hear liver cancer and I recoil with a horror and a fear, just because there are a couple of cancers, pancreatic among them, that you just don't want to hear about because of the aggressiveness of them. And so that is one of them I don't want to hear about. The other thing that I wanted to talk about that Jessica started to bring up there, that I really am having a difficult time finding anything in the way of precedent for in the history of my coverage of sports. The greatest football coach by consensus in the history of the sport is available, and I can't believe the number of people arguing about whether he can do a college job correctly or not. The number of people yelling and screaming about the idea of Bill Belichick might be the greatest football coach ever, but if you allow him to coach North Carolina, he's going to screw it up, and that he's coming in with his own recruiting staff and his own coaching staff. They're going to be different. He's got different ideas for how to do this in his early 70s, and there are a whole lot of people arguing about whether he can do that job successfully. I don't have an analogy I can give you in the hypothetical that would feel quite as real as the one that I'm presented with, which is, how is this happening this way? This man can clearly lead and coach. You're telling me he can't do it at a college program because it's changed too much in college that a pro can't do it at ungoverned, now professionalized second-tier college football?
But Dan, the game changed so much. It's a different job. It changed so much that Nick Saban decided to get out. He was at the top of the sport, and he's like, hey, I'm out. I don't want to deal with this.
And there's age bias.
Yeah, of course.
And there's the question of, is he doing it for his son? And there's a question of whether or not it's because of Tom Brady that he was so good. Like, was Phil Jackson the greatest coach ever, or was it Jordan and then Bryant? So there's a myriad reasons.
And
Dan.
there's the question of who wants to hire him from North Carolina and who doesn't, because it seems evident from the reporting that there's a very potentially like rogue coaching search happening. There's a ton of disagreement among the people in charge about what to do, and reporting that this has been like a extremely clumsy hiring process. And so I think that like it's maybe a university dysfunction that's being like leaked into the public right now. So we don't really know exactly what is going on.
The part that I am baffled by is, and I just simply couldn't have foreseen in whatever it is that you made of the hypotheticals pre-pandemic. If I had told you 5 years ago, hey, Bill Belichick's going to be available, and North Carolina, there's going to be a giant argument about whether he should go there, you'd be like, what are you talking about?
And the Falcons already passed on him.
We already did the thing. We already did the thing in college football where the Patriots coach with the Super Bowl ring comes in and everyone's like, oh my God, he's going to be a genius. And Charlie Weiss didn't work out. Right. So we've already done this in college football and it didn't work. I think there's a
Charlie Weiss, who looks like the lower half of his body was sewn together backwards does not get to be Bill Belichick under any of the circumstances that you provide as
Body shaming
hypotheticals.
is not a good reason.
And what does COVID have to do with it?
That before COVID, because COVID changed all of what college football was, because the players started asking for money, and then all of a sudden everything collapsed about amateurism. Like the entire structure of everything, of the corporate greed that appeared during the pandemic, that the players wanted the money, everything in college football collapsed and changed in a way, and changed so much that it now ostracizes Bill Belichick.
No, it makes him more popular, actually. It's the opposite analysis. Bill Belichick knows how to run a professional program, and colleges are professional programs now.
Well, no, he got fired because he didn't know how to run a professional program. That's the aspect of it that I think we're all ignoring
He
here.
got fired because when you're with someone for that long, it doesn't end well, and the owner wins every time.
It's also the ACC.
Because they were losing, though.
And there was no Brady.
That's a good point, Billy.
I feel like it's a decent point to say that 5 years ago, none of us could have arrived at imagining a scenario where we are today, which is, hey, Belichick's available. North Carolina's fans aren't sure if they want him.
No one's going to convince me that Bill Belichick can't beat SMU. I mean,
out of all the scenarios I couldn't have imagined 5 years ago, this one's not top of the list.
Howdy, folks. It's Mike. And guess what? It's Miller time. The holiday season brings around lots of joy and also lots of family gatherings at your home. You're inviting people in there. You want to make sure they're happy. Why don't you make their time at your place a Miller time? Pass around that beautiful white can of triple hops brewed Miller Lite and watch the smiles adorn those faces. Make Miller Lite the official drink, the official beverage of your holiday get-together. You know why? Because it is a perfect beer for the holiday season. You'll take a sip, you'll look around, and you'll think immediately, yeah, I made the right call. It's got taste that you can depend on. No games, no gimmicks, just great beer for people who like beer. Making memories at year-end gatherings? Tastes like Miller time. Go to MillerLite.com/Dan to find delivery options near you. Or you can pick up some Miller Lite pretty much anywhere they sell beer. Celebrate responsibly. Miller Brewing Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. 96 calories and 3.2 carbs per 12 ounces. Fewer calories and carbs than premium regular beer.
Imagínate escuchar tu canción favorita como si fuera la primera vez. Te presentamos el totalmente nuevo y reimaginado Nissan Kicks con sonido Bose Personal Plus y bocinas en la parte superior de los asientos para crear una experiencia 360. Jamás has escuchado algo así. Reimagina tu música y tu forma de manejar. Descubre el totalmente nuevo y reimaginado Nissan Kicks en nissanusa.com. Función disponible. Bose es una marca registrada de The Bose Corporation.